Alright, so it's that time of the month where I have to let you know as an NA player what's going to be coming up in the month of August over here on the NA side of things, and unfortunately, or fortunately if you couldn't handle all the content we were getting, things are going to be slowing down a little bit over here on the NA side of things because unfortunately we already know that the new Guda Guda event is going to be in early September. I kind of wish they would have maintained that 1 month ahead of schedule type of timing that we had going on, because that does lend to the prospect that maybe we'll get a little bit more caught up to the JP side of things. I understand that, seasonal events like summer and Christmas might be a little bit more awkward, especially for stuff like summer that drops a boatload of units, but come on, some of these other events we could get a little bit early and get a bit more caught up to JP. Let's take that 2 years and shed it down to 1 year, but unfortunately that doesn't seem to be in the cards. So this month is going to be a bit more relaxed. There's still stuff to do, but I think this month is really the embodiment of why they should bring back reruns, because it's not as though there's not some good campaigns and I guess goodies to get during this month of August. But imagine if we also just had an event to farm in the background, especially those events that have free-to-plays and stuff along those lines. Players could gain access to them before the evocation stuff comes out, that more so makes it available for all players at any point. But it also provides materials and stuff that's really not doing daily farming, because daily farming, let's face it, is not really the most fun thing to do. But I promise this video will not be all complaining. There is some good stuff coming for the month of August, but we're primarily going to be getting all of our hype from the JP side of things, where they have their anniversary, where they might have teased what the new servant's going to be, and then obviously the summer servants that are going to be coming out over there. But go ahead, get strapped in, get comfortable as we break down everything that we're going to be getting in the month of August over here on the NA side of things. And if you find these videos to be helpful and you enjoy the daily FGO content grind, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, as it does help me out more than you know, and it's absolutely free. Now, with that being said, let's start diving into some of the things that we're going to be getting. The first thing we should be getting after the current summer event ends, as it does bleed a little bit into the early parts of August, is going to be the 26 million download campaign. So when this video goes up, we should have already gotten the rerun banner from last year's summer event. Then about a weekish after that, we should be seeing the 26 million download campaign once the summer event ends. This is kind of awkwardly timed. I mean, the login bonus and everything is always going to be really good. You're going to be getting 10 tickets, a decent chunk of QP. Most importantly, in my opinion, is the 10 silver and gold apples, as long as you make sure to log in every single day, as well as a rare prism if you're missing out on somebody like BB or something along those lines. And the lures are always really nice. That's always going to be very, very enjoyable. Free quest being half off means that if you don't want to, convert all of your AP into blue apples for the lottos later on this year, you can go grind some dailies and get your summer servants or your anniversary servants that you put on like GSSRs and stuff leveled up. But unfortunately, the main highlight banner that is going to be coming out with this is the Space Ishtar banner. And look, I still think Space Ishtar is a very solid servant, but she has lost a little bit of her luster. Go figure, a servant from like year 2, 3 is not quite as good as the year 7 to even year 9 servants that we have over on the JP side of things. She's still good. Obviously, if you want to invest in her and want to make her your main, looper person, she'll be very good for that. And she does still have the value of being really good in pretty much any meta, right? It's just the frustrating thing is that she kind of has these built-in quirks that more modern units don't really have. For instance, her third skill, the card buffs are not guaranteed, which really does matter for, arts and quick farming, especially because not only is it extra damage for the overkill, but more importantly, it's extra NP gain on her arts NP or quick NP, whichever you decide to go for. For Buster, it doesn't really matter as much if you miss out on that, because she's stacking NP damage. She plays really nicely with Oberon, so that one she's still pretty decent for. She can actually rock that rather well. But I think if they wanted to toss her a bone, in the future, say make her second skill, that NP damage buff is 3 turns and it gives her like 20% buff success rate, so that way you can guarantee the effects on her third skill. I think that would make her very phenomenal. But again, she's always going to be one of those servants you want to keep your eye out on, and she's not bad to have, because again, if they chuck her like any decent buff, she could be insanely good again. Because again, she's always hovering around like, maybe like 6th or 5th best option off the top of my head for like each respective meta, not the best, but she's really good in all of them. So it makes her very, very valuable. So I can understand if you want to go summon for this servant, if you have any Saint Quartz left over. But again, very awkward, because we just got Summer Ibuki, who is the best AoE arts unit. We're getting Sen no Rikyu, who's the best AoE quick unit in a month. And then in a couple months from now, we're going to be getting Kukul Khan for Lost Belt 7. And she's pretty much the best Buster AoE servant in the game. So it's a little unfortunate. She does all of those jobs, but not as good as a lot of servants that are coming out, but she can do all of their jobs kind of decently well, so not as well, but she can do all of them. So again, that's the value of Space Ishtar. Now, obviously there's a second summoning campaign. I think the highlight units to be looking out for is Ereshkigal and Raikou. Ereshkigal, now, I will say, I do think is not as good overall compared to Melusine. I think that was misunderstood in the Lancer video, because that we were strictly looking at them as Buster AoE servants, right? Melusine got a little bit of a nerf for that one to kind of make it fair, because then we're comparing two servants compared to everyone else basically being one servant. But as a Buster AoE, not only does she have very, very strong power mod, she has the 50% battery to make it really easy and kind of brain dead for her to be able to farm, but she's also exceptional when it comes to challenging content. You know, pretty much hard to rival her kid. She just does everything you would want a challenge quest servant to do. She is absolutely phenomenal. So if you are considering a servant, I would highly recommend looking at Ereshkigal. Not that I really have to do any convincing, because if the summer Ereshkigal outrage that we haven't got her yet is any indication of how popular she is, I'm sure you're going to be summoning on her anyway. And then Raikou is not too far off from a buff that's going to make her a very, very strong Buster AoE servant. And with her pretty, I would say, more niche power mods, it does make her very nice to have. You know, having someone that has Sky power mod is just a nice thing to have, because you really feel it when you want it. You know, you're fighting some random Sky attribute enemy and you just don't have anybody that's quite got the schmuckdo to take them out. Then you have this person like Raikou and she's able to chop them up. And she also bombs a bunch of stars, so she can do some crits and all that fun stuff, right? But that's pretty much it for the 26 million download campaign. I believe we're also getting the update where instead of 3 items a month from doing your daily missions, you get 5 a month, which is nice. If you need a material, you can get like 5 of them a day. It's just a nice quality of life thing that I think a lot of players don't really notice, but it is very appreciated that they did throw that in there. Also, the Cursed Merlin CE will be going into the Da Vinci's Workshop. This is one of those ones that you don't really need, because it gives you Maxter EXP and Mystic Code EXP, which are two things that I feel that people really don't care about, because at a certain level, your master level doesn't really do anything aside from flex on, you know, your friends. You're like, oh, I'm level 150, I'm level 151. You know, it's just a flex thing because you don't get any more team costs or anything. And the same thing goes for Mystic Codes. You know, obviously there's a lot of them that benefit from being leveled, but most of the event ones are super easy without CEs like this to get to level 10. And then stuff like Plug Suit that do take a long time to level up are things that you're pretty much going to use everywhere. So they'll just get leveled up over the course of like a year or two from you just playing the game. At least if you're playing the game in kind of any advanced capacity. Speaking of advanced capacity, I guess if you can count that as a segue, we have Advanced Quest 8 that's going to be coming, and this one is not too bad. The chain one, I didn't really find all that difficult to do when that came to the JP side of thing. Obviously, I'll give a full in-depth guide when these officially drop over here on NA, but the one that you want to be, I guess, more concerned about is the stake one. That one is just really annoying because you have to manage your curse stacks, and the curses are unremovable, and once you get a certain amount of them, then they insta-kill your servant, and it's a long fight, and, you know, blah blah blah. It's one of those annoying ones that might take you a solid like 10-20 minutes to do, and maybe might even take you 1 or 2 tries if your team comp isn't quite up to par. Again, I'll do more of an in-depth guide on this when it does release, but make sure you are doing this, because I believe it is next anniversary where for every 3 advanced quests you do, you get 9 Saint Quartz, which is ridiculously nice. You know, there was a lot of people that are like, hey, I didn't get a whole lot of Saint Quartz for this anniversary, you know, when that dropped on JP, and it's like, yeah, numbnuts, you didn't do the advanced quests. You were pushing those off the whole time, and look at that. You didn't get any of the Saint Quartz. So make sure you are doing these. Make sure you're doing your advanced quests. As annoying as they are, think of the succulent Saint Quartz that you're going to be getting next year. Oh, I guess there's also the bone one that has Ibaraki in it, but that one is just more fun if you have Watanabe, because Watanabe gets even more damage than he already does, you know, being able to fight Onis that are also demonic. So if you have Watanabe, it is literally just beat up Banana Oni as hard as you can. And if you don't have Watanabe, it's like, hey, you remember Rashomon event? You know, that's pretty cool. Go ahead and do that again. Or is that Odigashima? Someone in the comments will correct me, but it's the Ibaraki raid functionally. You know, you just have to go do that one again. And then finally, we should be seeing the Road to Lost Belt 7 Part 4 campaign, which I know everybody is really looking forward to for this one. I mean, it does bring Arjuna Alter back. That's pretty cool. If you don't have him, he's one of the better Buster AoE servants in the game. I'll always make my case for Morgan being overall the better servant, but even I can't deny that pretty much having free power mod on everything does alleviate the concern of like, oh, no main attribute enemies, then ooh, this is gonna kind of stink for Morgan. So just having a free guy that could take out everybody and is also a berserker is just rather nice. The recollection quests this time around are going to be particularly annoying. I mean, the Neza one is not too bad. It's the one where she debuffs herself with like the defense going down as you start fighting her. She loses HP, all that good stuff. I mean, obviously losing the HP kind of loses some of that value when she has 800k HP, but it's still appreciated. It's still a fine fight. But the other one is the Arjuna Altar one where you have to bring the NPC Karna, which is really fine for the original fight. You can use that Karna to kind of finagle your way through the Arjuna Altar fight if you don't have anything better. But when you start giving Arjuna Altar, like, what, almost 4 million HP total, and he's a big bungus berserker that's just going to be smacking you a lot, it can get a little bit rough. Thankfully, he doesn't have anything particularly annoying in his kit. He's not like Ivan, where he has a skill that can remove all of your buffs, right? He doesn't have anything like that. He just hits really hard, is immune to all debuffs, and also cuts all incoming damage by 30% with a special resistance. It's not too particularly bad. I mean, he does have the guts, but it's not an insane one. And he'll probably lose all of his big attack buffs, the pierce invincibility and all that stuff, because those are really meant for a fight that's going to be a couple of turns, and that's why it was good. So it'll be a little bit harder, but a little bit easier in the fact that you're stuck with him a lot longer, but he's going to lose all of those buffs, and plus they're all removable anyway. So if you can figure out a way to do that with one of your servants and pop off with that one. The tree fight is going to be similarly very annoying because usually you can kind of just farm it, and you might be able to farm it if you have higher NP copy, you know, AoE Lancers. Like, I'm pretty sure if you have a decent Karna, you could probably brute force your way through this one. I don't know if the original Parvati farming thing with Summer BB will really work, because I just don't know if Parvati will do enough damage. But it is going to be rather annoying, because the tree is a big berserker, and Ashvataman just kind of does a bunch of annoying stuff like taunting and getting you away from the tree. So you want to bring an AoE guy. It's just kind of a little bit more annoying, but like all of these CQs, I'll upload my runs. You know, I'll try to do something that's not as crazy unless I get super annoyed, and then I'll just break out the Morgan and hope for the best. But aside from that, we are going to be getting buffs for both Lakshmi Bai and for Neza. Neza I'm very excited about because it does give her demonic power mod, and it gives her defense against demonic enemies while also being able to bomb stars. So I'm really excited to use her in CQs and see how she'll be able to function. Maybe I'll even bring her to that Ibaraki fight and see how she's able to do on that one. Lakshmi Bai is probably going to be feeling more of the effect though, because we just got Ruler Scotty, and this is giving her a quick buff and an NP gain buff. So her looping ability that was already not very good is getting buffed by her skill buff, and because Ruler Scotty came out, who helps a lot of these more worse off quick units by giving them an extra 30% quick performance buff when you have 2 of them. So she'll probably overshadow Neza a little bit, but go ahead, try out Neza. I know I'm going to be doing that on stream. I want to see how good she is after all this. But as you can tell, not a whole lot of really insane gas stuff happening. That's probably going to be September when we get Senno Rikyu, we get the mini lotto, but you'll just have to kind of put through with it. But hey, at the very least, it's not like both versions of the game are going to be completely dead. We have Anniversary and Summer over on JP, so look forward to that. I'll be covering all that and more over here on the YouTube channel over here. I'll go live for all that stuff when they ever announce the live stream and all that good stuff. But with that being said, I'm not going to take any more of your time. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice day, and I'll catch y'all on the flippity floppity.